Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to when you want us to wade through, well, stacks of information, cut through the noise, and just pull out the key bits for you. And today, we're doing a deep dive into something you probably, never think about, something that seems totally mundane.
Right.
But it's actually, surprisingly, a big deal globally. We're talking about bicycle bottle cages.
Yeah, those little things that hold your water bottle.
Exactly, those things.
And what's really interesting, what stands out, is that this humble accessory, it's essential for cyclists, outdoor folks, but often totally overlooked.
Completely.
Yet it's right at the center of a global market that's really expanding quickly. And this deep dive, well, it's going to show exactly why it's not just some trivial bit, but actually fundamental to a pretty thriving industry.
That's spot on. So our mission today is basically to pull out the most interesting bits, the key data, the trends from a recent market forecast we've got here. We want to give you a shortcut, really, to understanding this surprisingly dynamic market. So let's jump in. Let's look at the numbers. Okay, let's kick off with some figures that honestly might make you blink. The global bottle cage market. It's on a really impressive upward path. So back in 2021, the total sales revenue was $110.59 million.
Okay.
By 2025, it's expected to hit $131.1 million. And it's pushing, really pushing, towards $184.237 million by the year 2033.
Wow.
And it's growing at what are called a CAGR. That's a compound annual growth rate of 4.345%.
Right, the CAGR.
Yeah, and for anyone maybe not familiar, CGR is just the average growth each year over a period, kind of smooths out the bumps. So that 4.345%, well, it shows really consistent, pretty strong momentum for such a simple thing.
It really does. And what's fascinating there, I think, is how that specific number, that market data, it often mirrors these bigger shifts in society, right? This growth isn't just happening on its own. It's really tied into wider trends in sports, fitness, getting outdoors, all that stuff worldwide.
Yeah.
It just underlines how even these, seemingly small markets can actually be little indicators of bigger economic changes, shifts in how we all behave as consumers.
But, the numbers are one thing. The really interesting part, the real deep dive, starts when we ask why.
Exactly.
Why is this little accessory suddenly seeing so much demand? What's actually pushing it towards this global significance? Is it just, more people on bikes, or is it something else?
That's a great question. It's a bit more nuanced. Our sources point to basically four main things driving the growth.
Okay.
First, it is partly just more people cycling generally. Everything from, serious racers and mountain bikers through to just casual weekend riders.
Right.
And don't forget the huge boom in e-bikes for commuting, too. Just more bikes means more need for basic gear. Simple as that sometimes.
Okay, makes sense.
Second, there's this growing awareness globally about staying hydrated during sports.
Yeah.
People get it now. You need water, whether you're just riding to work or doing some intense trail.
So it's not just having the bike, it's having the gear, for hydration specifically. What else?
Precisely. The third driver is the massive expansion of e-commerce, online shopping. These things aren't just tucked away in specialist bike shops anymore. You can buy them easily online, often cheaper too. It just makes them accessible to basically anyone, anywhere. Doesn't matter if you have a local bike shop or not. That's really opened up the market.
Huge difference.
Definitely. And finally, number 4 is the constant innovation happening with materials, making them lighter, more durable.
The tech side.
Yeah, we're talking carbon fiber, advanced plastics, literally shaving grams off the bike's weight. It makes these cages almost part of the high-performance bike itself.
Right.
And that appeals to the serious riders, sure, but even casual users like the look and feel of the newer stuff. So you see, all these things together, they sort of transform the humble bottle cage into, well, both a must-have and a kind of lifestyle accessory.
It's pretty amazing when you stop and think about the sheer number of these simple items being made and sold globally.
It really is.
It just shows how these big global trends trickle down to even the smallest products. And as we track this growth across different parts of the world, you start to see a really interesting picture of how these forces play out locally. Take North America. It leads the way right now. Forecast for 2025 is $37.717 million. The U.S., unsurprisingly, makes up the lion's share of that. It grew from about $24.89 million in 2021 and is expected to hit almost $39 million by 2033.
Steady growth there.
Yeah, steady. And Canada's market is picking up pace too, nearly 5% CAGR. Mexico's also showing healthy growth, over 4% CAGR.
And that North American lead, you can kind of tie that back to its really established cycling culture, right? Good infrastructure for recreation. It supports that consistent growth. It's often about people upgrading gear they already have or supporting a hobby they've had for a while.
Makes sense. Then there's Europe, following pretty closely. Projected revenue there is set to hit $33.144 million by 2033. That's driven by strong demand, and you see growth rates over 4% in places like France, Italy, and the rest of Europe generally. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Asia-Pacific region.
Yeah. This
This is really the growth engine. It's expected to leap from $44 million back in 2021 to over $75.9 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 4.757%. Pretty impressive.
massive jump.
Massive. And within that, India is a real standout, over 5.5% CAGR. Singapore and Southeast Asia are also surging, both above 5%. And even the more mature markets like China and Japan, they're still posting steady gains too.
That explosive growth in Asia-Pacific, it really shines a light on those emerging markets, doesn't it? Where cycling is being adopted not just as a sport, but also as really practical transport.
Right, a different dynamic.
Exactly. You've got rising incomes, people are more health conscious, and in lots of places there's this big shift towards, greener ways to get around cities. Cycling is becoming fundamental there, not just for fun.
Okay, moving south then, South America. Brazil's leading the pack there. Its market's set to grow from about $2.3 million in 2021 to over $4.1 million by 2033.
Still decent growth.
Decent growth.
Yeah.
And Argentina is one to watch, shaping up as a key hotspot, growing at nearly 5.8% CAGR.
Interesting.
The Middle East market, led mostly by Saudi Arabia and the UAE, shows more moderate growth. But here's the real kicker, the big outlier, Africa.
Yes. The fastest growing.
By far the fastest growing region globally. A staggering CAGR of 8.166%.
Incredible number.
Incredible, driven by strong demand in Nigeria, South Africa, and other developing markets across the continent.
And Africa's growth rate, that huge number, it suggests this powerful mix, doesn't it? You've got rising incomes meeting this very real practical need for cheap, sustainable ways to get around. This isn't just about weekend cycling. It signals a really fundamental shift in mobility and just a rapid take-up of cycling across Africa. These differences between regions, they really show the varied ways cycling, and so the gear for it is being adopted worldwide, from just a hobby in some places to absolutely essential transport in others.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you listening? Well, our deep dive into the global bottle cage market, it's really shown the surprising life in this humble accessory, hasn't it?
It really has.
It's riding this huge wave of global demand. And that wave is fueled by basic shifts in how we live in technology. And the industry is clearly, shifting gears to keep up. It's just a perfect little example of how things like health trends, online shopping, and new materials can totally reshape even the most overlooked bits of the consumer world.
And it really reinforces that core idea that sometimes it's the things we overlook, the components we barely notice, that actually reveal the most dynamic market trends.
Yeah.
Understanding these seemingly niche markets, it gives you a much richer, fuller picture of the global economy and how consumer behavior is changing than you might think at first glance. It shows that innovation isn't always about the biggest, flashiest product. Often it's about refining the essentials.
Absolutely. So maybe as you go about your day-to-day, just think, what other seemingly small niche things might be quietly but significantly shaping global markets right now?
Good question.
Could be your coffee cup sleeve, maybe, or that special grip on your phone. They might just be driven by similar mixes of lifestyle changes and tech innovation, just like our friend, the humble bottle cage. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.